Big Blue fans, New York Giants on SI has long been your source for news and information on the best team in the Big Apple. Since 2000, I have been bringing you Between the Lines, giving you the X's and O's that make or break a season, and the performance evaluations that bring hope for the future or present an uncertainty. Now I bring that unique perspective to the microphone Monday through Friday with some of the most prominent voices in Big Blue Nation as we discuss the topics of the day. So come join us. I'm Coach Gene Clemons, and I have a giant issue.
3, 2, 1,
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This is the first episode. We are 9 minutes away from the first episode of Hard Knocks with the New York Giants off season. I am Coach Gene Clemons. Thank you for joining me. Make sure that coming a week before we get into training camp, my new podcast every day right here on New York Giants on SI, YouTube, and wherever you get your DSPs from, a giant issue with me, Coach Gene Clemons. I'll be talking to all of the tastemakers in Giants folklore, all of the people that make this Big Blue Nation what it's supposed to be, that makes it fun, makes it vibrant. If you have a comment, leave your comments, there. I want to hear from you. I want to hear what you have to say. I want to be able to respond to you. My plan is to have this going throughout the actual performance. No, I will not be putting it on the on the computer because I do not want to get myself or the entire YouTube channel in trouble. Shout out to Patricia, Traina, the managing editor of New York Giants on SI, for giving us this platform to be able to do this. But I really want to start in and kind of set everything up for tonight. I know that many of you out there are excited about what's going on. I know I'll be joined here with PT in a minute. I know you're excited about going on. We've seen from the commercials that this episode seems like it's going to be an episode that talks about the Brian Burns situation. We will probably get a lot of the Daniel Jones offseason rehab. I'm not sure if we'll get the Saquon Barkley stuff today. I don't know if it's going to be a today type of thing, but we've seen it coming down the pipe. The one thing I will tell you all is that you have to remember that at the base of everything Hard Knocks is, it's not an expose on the team, right? So if it seems as if all of the moves and all of the things that the team did just all seem fantastic, that's the goal. The Giants have the right of final edit. If you don't know what that means that when HBO and the people who put this thing together, when they put what they want to put out there, they take it to the Giants. The Giants look it over, and if there's anything that they don't like, if there's any way that they didn't like being depicted, if there's any way they didn't like one of their players being depicted, they have the right to say, hey, change that. We want that changed. We want that edited. We want it set up a different way. They might look at some of the raw footage and say, hey, we would prefer to have this in and not that. They have that right. That is the right of final edit. That is something that every director known to man always wants to fight for, because a director will put together this beautiful thing, and then there'll be producers on the back end that come in and change things all around, and now the vision that the director had is not the same vision that the producers had. For example, this is what happened with the Zack Snyder verse of the DC Comics, is that Snyder had one vision, the producers had another vision. Their visions never aligned. They came out with that really awful movie. Then Zack Snyder came back and put his cut in, which was a longer version that kind of filled in some holes, but still wasn't as great because of all the things that had been done. So when you think about that, I want you to think about that when you're watching this show. I want you to understand that that's what you're looking at. You're looking at this through the Giants' eyes, through the Giants' front office's eyes, not necessarily through everybody's eyes in a completely, totally unbiased way. I'm joined right now, Patricia Traina, like I said, of the Locked On Giants podcast, and also our esteemed big boss at New York Giants on SIPT. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, Gene, how you doing? You excited?
I am excited. I love you. I mean, like is all of my background is journalism, it's theater, and all of this kind of comes together. So I'm really excited to see how they put this together. But I also look at this as an opportunity for us to see like new stuff to talk about, like new legitimate stuff. We've been all like we all have our speculations of what happened, but now we're going to actually get words from the horse's mouth, and I'm really excited about that. What are you excited most about?
Well, I don't think we're going to get anything, that's going to make our jaws drop. I think, you look at the trailers, and the trailers are kind of, pieced together to tantalize. That's what they're for. But I do think maybe we'll get a little bit more insight into the plan that Joe Shane had for this team, why some of the decisions didn't, that we were all screaming for maybe didn't fit into, what they were looking to do. So, yeah, I think, we had an article up on Giants Country early today. We talked about, what we expected the main storylines to be: Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley. They'll probably talk a little bit about, Xavier McKinney. They'll talk probably about the coaching hires, Shane Bowen, maybe Carmen Brasillo. You'll see the draft. You'll probably see mini camp. I mean, so really all stuff that we've been covering all off season long. We're just going to get maybe a little bit underneath the skin, if you will, as to the how and the why on some of these decisions.
I think one of the things that I'm looking forward to, one of the scenes they showed was everybody at the Senior Bowl, right? And so, yeah, that's where we start getting the Brian Burns story, but it's also they're at the Senior Bowl. So, like, what players were they enamored with at the Senior Bowl? What was the focus of going down to the Senior Bowl? What was their initial goal in going there? Was the initial goal, hey, we're about to try to, snatch Brian Burns? Or was it in the midst of looking at these players, we saw an opportunity and then we went with that opportunity? I think that's like, I'm looking at it from the standpoint of what went into the decisions to go where they went. You have tight ends on this roster. Why did you take Theo Johnson? Did you look at him at the Senior Bowl and go, my God, like we got to take this dude's a talent. Like I want to see that. And so I'm hoping I see a lot more of the football-y stuff and not as much of the gossipy, drama stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I would expect you'll probably get some glimpses into the personnel meetings, decisions that were made. For example, do we re-sign Saquon Barkley, or do we draft a guy? What do we do at quarterback? What do we like about this guy? Now, usually with these series, they don't go, from day one straight through to the end. They tend to break things up a little bit. It's almost like a soap opera format. But, it's going to be interesting. And I do think we're going to get underneath the hood, so to speak, and see some of the finer points. But, I don't think we're going to see anything, controversial to where, oh, my God, Daniel Jones stinks, we have to move on, anything like that. So.
For sure. And we should be firing up here right now. I know if you're on.
I'm just trying to. Yep. Okay, I got it. I got it on my iPad, so I'm just firing it up here.
You have Max too?
I do.
Yeah. So
All
know what I would love to do? I would love to get some numbers from Max and see what the increase in subscribers were just in the.
I can find out. I'll have to ask. Because we, I have for Locked On, I've got an interview coming up, but I can maybe find out. So anyway, we're starting now. So let's, I'm going to pump this up a little bit so I can hear it.
You found it on Max with no problem?
Yeah, I have it on. Do you?
No, I don't, and I'm ticked about it because I don't see it on my live.
Well, do you want? I don't want
there
to
it is.
spoil it for you, but
No,
right
I'm
now,
here. I am here.
okay. Let me know if you got it.
I'm here.
Okay. So basically, they've just opened up with a scene talking about Saquon and what they're going to, what do they do? What direction do they go?
Mm-hmm.
So, that's we obviously, we saw that in the trailer.
Rob Jigger, how you doing, man? Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
What's up, Rob?
Yo, Rob really loves you.
Moo, what's going on?
Who's here? Shout
Big
out to the
Moo's
big
here. Yep, Big Moo from Locked On. Moo, I'm going to have a recap and some additional insight on Locked On. Haven't taped it yet, but I'm going to do it after this. All right, so we've got a little intro going here. By the way, there are spoilers on this, so if you guys have not seen it yet and plan to, just a heads up, because we will be talking about stuff that maybe is mentioned here. Well, I wonder who's
absolutely. We are watching this in real time, so we're watching it as it's happening.
Mm-hmm. All right, so it looks like we're going to see a little bit on Daniel Jones. So this is I think this is just like the opening, what some of what you're going to see. This isn't, kind of like an intro, so to speak. So we haven't really gotten in. Hey, Matthew, what's going on?
Hey, shout out to Matthew. It does. So trust me, we feel the same way with some of the stuff that you guys get in Canada that we can't get down here.
It'll probably I would not be surprised if this shows up on YouTube in a few hours.
It'll be on YouTube at some point.
I'm sure it will be. All right, so that's pretty much our intro. By the way, this is a great look inside the facility. So you get to actually see the football aspect of it. You get to see, excuse me, the upstairs, the admin. So these are places that the general public generally don't get to see. Some of the places we in the media don't even get to see.
Absolutely.
So, all right. So we got the intro going. I'm looking off here because I've got my iPad over here.
Yeah. Where are you at? So I know I'm close to where you are. Like, where are you at in it? What are you seeing right now?
What are you talking about?
You, like, what are you seeing on the TV right now?
Oh, they just did the title screen, Hard Knocks Offseason with the New York Giants.
Yeah. So
all right, so I don't have commercials on mine, so I know some plans do.
Yes, I have commercials on mine because I'm poor.
All right, so they're starting with January 7, 2024, which is the last game of the season, obviously. So they're going to pick up from there, it looks like.
Yep, that's where I'm at right now.
Yep.
They're hugging it up.
Hugging it up. Barkley, you're seeing Barkley. You just saw Tyrod Taylor. Guys that were not back. All right, now we're on baggy day. Daniel.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Jigga, YouTube likes to cut you loose when you do stuff like that. So
this is copyright, so we can't show it. Unfortunately, we can talk about it, but we can't do spoilers or anything like that. So.
Entering his third season as GM, he's as eager as the fans to get moving. The New York Giants are in a full rebuild.
So some nice scenery some nice like New York City footage, Jersey footage.
Yeah, I like the idea that they're saying that it's urgency, right? Like New Yorkers don't want to wait.
Yep. And then, so it has obviously the confessionals. I think, Joe Shane, what I think a lot of people don't realize about him, he's a very nice guy, but he's also very focused, very tuned in to what he has to do. So
Yeah, I think when you get to that level, you can't just be a nice guy. You can't
right.
be nice.
By the way, we will have a complete wrap up of the high points or the key points on Giants Country. So that'll be up not too long after this episode ends.
Absolutely. And then make sure that you get over and check out that Locked On Giants podcast.
Yep, that I gotta tape that.
Make sure to check that out.
Yep, I'm gonna add to that too. I've got some things that I can add because I kind of know what they're, I kind of have an idea based on the opening what they're going to talk about. So I've made my notes and I'm ready to go. How about that? Joe Shane is a PBJ guy. Me too. That's funny.
I think that just shows you PBJ is universal, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he's a super nice guy. He really is. I mean, he's just so down to earth, and he doesn't lie. Thank you, Rob. Appreciate the comment. Thank you. Hopefully you'll like a Giant issue. We've got some new content coming on the Giant Country site here. So hope you will check that out. Coach Gene talked about his podcast, and we've got another podcast that's going to drop in a couple of weeks that we're going to kick off. So I'm really excited about that. I'm excited about what Coach Gene is doing. Hope you will continue to check it out as well as our written work over on Giants Country. All right. So Joe Shane right now is just chit-chatting in his confessional. He's driving in his confessional. Yeah, peanut butter and jelly, man. Preach.
And I think it's good because different times a year with Locked On, you're going to get, not with Locked On, but with Hard Knocks, you're going to get a different view.
Sure.
Right? So I think showing this view of the GM and heavy into like what their thought process is this time of year, it's pretty fun.
Yeah. Help us say. Yeah. I promise, Rob. I've got stuff planned for you. We're doing opponent previews now on Locked On, and we're going to wrap those up, and then I'm going to go into previews and stuff like that. So lots coming up. I didn't take a vacation, so 240. I'm pretty sure the cap was higher than 240 million, right? I don't remember what it was off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure it was higher. By the way, one thing I did notice, this is a minor thing, a little tiny detail. The Giants have vertical nameplates outside people's offices. It used to be horizontal ones, so they changed that. That's brand new. I never noticed that really. And I've been in that building, a million times. So just little, subtle things. They changed some of the signage around the building as well. All right, positional value.
Yeah. Like I still look at this and I'm already seeing it. Like I'm already seeing how it's kind of thrown into this look of, hey, are these people really worth this? Right? They're already doing that. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, y'all need to understand a lot of the spin that goes on with this positional value stuff only comes up when it's time to pay people. Nobody thinks about positional value when the whistle blows on a Sunday.
By the way, this is a little interesting. I look for little tiny details in these shows, and you could see the NFL internal network that they use to file trades, to look at film and stuff. So you kind of see a little glimpse of that computer screen, which I found interesting at any rate. I think that's pretty cool.
I look at the setup. I'm always interested in their setup, how they have their office, facilitated.
Yeah.
The way he got his
Joe Shane, by the way, has a small office. You would think he had a big corner office. Usually the corner office goes to the head coach. The GM has a smaller office. Just a little FYI. Barkley.
I'm already wrong. I didn't think they would touch on Barkley this early, but it's right out the gate.
All right, let's see what they say.
Giants to offer Barkley a new contract. It'll cost. So Joe Shane's staff is assessing every free agent running back available.
This is pretty good.
Looking for running back. Obviously, we'll see what happens with Saquon, but there is going to be some depth, at the running back position. I think it'll be a little bit of a saturated market. Maybe able to get a couple value guys there.
Okay.
600 free agents this year. The Pro Scouts and I were responsible for them all. We have a big board.
Chris Rossetti now talking about the director of pro scouting. So they're talking about, how they set up their board with the running backs. And this is interesting. They have guys that they're mentioning
players that they were more interested in, or they have interest in.
Zach Moss was mentioned. Let's see who else they mentioned. Singletary, who they ultimately ended up signing. It's interesting because they're talking about what each guy does really well, but yet when you add it all up, it's not, it doesn't add up to Saquon.
No, like everything that they talked about everyone else doing, Saquon does.
Yep.
Like outside of maybe elite level pass blocking, which I still think is really overrated in the back. When you're thinking about how you want your back to be able to perform, like if he's not a great blocker, we'll figure it out.
All right, Pollard was mentioned.
They got Pollard. They've talked about.
I'm sure there were others, but these are maybe some of the key guys they were considering.
And it's interesting because this when they start they're talking about Swift, right?
This is the guy that I think that
they're talking about how Swift has similar traits to Barkley, and then when you figure out where Barkley ends up going, it kind of is one of those things where you're just like, that could have almost been a player swap.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I found that interesting. Little did they know, right? Hard to get him out of Philly. Josh Jacobs was considered.
Jacobs is a year and a half younger, I believe. And I think he has fewer issues for ACLs.
Okay.
Wow. Their internal thing had Jacobs as a higher rated back than Saquon, like a higher valued back than Saquon.
NFL player contracts are like any other market. Knowing when to buy or sell is not an easy call.
The other thing on Saquon we talked about was he on the open market will probably, after we went through it, will probably get the most money just based on the explosive he still has.
And I think he did, if I'm not mistaken. Chris Rossetti projected that Saquon would get the most, the most lucrative contract. If I'm not mistaken, I think he did.
I think he may have gotten the most guaranteed money for sure.
Yep. See, now they're talking about the importance of the offensive line. We did have a story on Giants Country, a prediction that I think one of the NFL analysts said Saquon in Philadelphia behind that offensive line could maybe just absolutely ball out, which is going to probably make it was probably
me that said Saquon behind the offensive line is going to be ridiculous.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for the Giants.
All right, Daniel Jones. 20% of the salary cap is taken up by the $40 million man.
Wow.
Okay. Memories.
They're just
my reaction when they announced Daniel Jones at 6. But he has shown flashes when helpful.
No, he's definitely shown flashes. Like he's
The
shown
problem is the
arm
injuries.
talent.
The injuries, and Coach, you've mentioned several times the issues with Daniel Jones. With his limitations.
Mm-hmm.
So and then you throw the injuries on top of it, and I don't see how you can count on this guy.
It's difficult, but I think when you've invested so much, you can't just get off of him right now.
No, you can't right now. But
what's the other alternative? You got to keep selling them, right? You got to keep selling them as the guy.
Yep.
I think one of the things that we may see as we look at him start, they're showing him rehabbing. I think one of the things that Giants fans should just prepare themselves for, like, he's going to be here until he's not here. Like there's no contract extension coming.
Right.
I don't think there's any amount of performance he's going to be able to do that gets him another contract.
And it's like, yeah,
you get is him being able to extend like the contract that he already, like, not extend it, but play it out.
Yeah, and it's like I said, you look at how the contract is constructed. You can tell the Giants aren't sure that he's the guy moving forward. So they say, okay, we'll give you a 2-year trial period. And if you outplay the contract, we'll extend you. If you don't, then sayonara, baby. So, it's kind of like what I've been saying all along with Daniel Jones. And this year is it for him. He has got to step up. There's no more excuses. The offensive line's been upgraded. He's got a number 1 receiver. The running game is, all right, yeah, you lose a little without Saquon, but it's not horrible. I mean, I'm sure there are worse running back situations in the league. So, yeah, it's now or never for Daniel Jones. Mm-hmm.
Listening to Joe Shane curse is interesting.
I know. So far, a lot of F-bombs dropped.
We got to play. The reality is facts. 3 serious injuries in 2 years.
Yep.
We need to protect ourselves.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's what I said.
Just protecting ourselves because that's predictor of the future. Practice what that's playing for.
Yeah.
Yep. Injuries.
He's on a contract for 3 more years. We're protecting ourselves because
Shane confirming that they're not giving up on Jones. He is under contract for 3 more years, and he's got guaranteed money. So again, this year is it for him. If he doesn't,
I definitely think that says a lot. Like, hey, what can we do to get the best out of him? But then, how can we protect ourselves if he doesn't?
And a general takeaway so far, and we're about 20 minutes into the program. The general takeaway is that everything basically Shane said publicly, he stuck with it. He said Daniel's our starting quarterback this year once he's healthy. So, people thought, oh, he's, what else is he supposed to say? He basically stuck with everything he said, So.
Yeah. Now this is interesting. Because they just did some whispers about the Wink Martindale thing, but not.
Yeah, but that happened before they started filming, but they had to mention it.
I know. I'm saying there's no mention of it.
Yeah. So they had. I think this is setting it up for Shane Bowen's introduction. Would be my guess.
Okay.
Big Dex, love that dude.
I love the depth chart on the big board up there. That's my favorite thing. Like, we do that in every level, by the way. You be on the youth league team, and you'll have a big board with the depth chart.
You got to see their boards that they have, Gene, man. You would go crazy. You would love it. Okay, here we go.
Unfortunately, Caesar, you can't watch it here, but I guarantee you,
it's going to be on YouTube. I'd be shocked if it's not.
It just won't be us. Like, won't be us doing it.
Yeah. All right. So they're talking about edge rushers. Chris Jones was apparently considered the granddaddy of them all. I think, yeah, Chris Jones. I think Burns came up.
Yeah, they were looking at Jones and thinking of him being like the
Like a
upgrade
straight hand.
from Williams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they're basically trying to pair Dexter up with somebody. So
Yeah.
Dexy, I love this dude.
The possibilities, the game wrecking capabilities there. Financially, is it possible?
No, it is not possible.
You're looking at like 35
Mm-hmm.
two outside backers.
Burns. There you go.
He said they at one time turned down 2 1s for him.
They were talking about costs there, so. Oh, you might be a little ahead of me then, Gene. It sounds like.
Yeah, I'm a little ahead.
Okay, no worries.
Okay, here we're about to jump into the defensive coordinator conversation.
Yep.
Until head coach Brian Dable decides on a defensive coordinator.
This is in the last 3 years. 16 this year.
That's Staples.
Offered this year. 7th generation. If I don't call it, it's not 30 days. It's not the end of it. First half of the third. This isn't the last 3 years. 10th fucking points. 16, second, 4th, 6th, and 7th. 17th, first rush, third down, first rush down. 10th fucking points. Second, 4th.
Pretty impressive. I still would like to know, I mean, not to take away from Shane Bowen, but how much of that was actually Vrabel versus Bowen? I'm sure there was a collaborative process there. But, I'm optimistic. I like the hire, so.
I think definitely it's going to be a wait and see. I know that the changes that they've made has been with Shane Bowen's defense in mind. And I do like that. I do like the fact that what they've done has been Shane Bowen-esque with the personnel that they brought in. How to feel the healthy offensive line and weapons, Danny Dimes. Yeah, I definitely do think that I'm off the whole it's Gettleman's fault. Like, y'all can miss me with the it's Gettleman's fault thing. But it's been bad. Like, this is year 3 of a new regime, so we can't keep Gettleman. So I think that any quarterback with a healthier offensive line and more weapons is going to be better. So I think that Daniel Jones will be better. I think this offense is being built around doing what he does best, which is quick passes, get the ball out your hand, first reads. It'll just matter if he can do that consistently on a game in, game out basis.
If they want you to cook the dinner, at least they ought to let you shop for some of the groceries. One of coordinator Shane Bowen.
And this is what I like about the
guys in regular clothes. They don't look like football coaches.
This is what I like about the way the Giants are set up. In the past, you have had general managers who they know what they want and they go when they get the player and okay, the coach doesn't really have as much say, which makes no sense. That actually existed in the last few years of the Coughlin regime. So under Shane, it's like, okay, you tell us what you want. Shane Bowen, you tell us what you want. Mike Kafka, you tell us what you want. And you're seeing that now. You're seeing the meeting This is the clip, by the way, that was previewed at that 100th anniversary of Night with Legends, where Bowen's talking about what he was looking for. And the scouts, they take notes, and that's what they go out and they try and find. And then they bring back, who they recommend to the coaching staff. And the coaching staff just says, okay, I want this guy, I want that guy, I don't want that guy. So that's kind of how they work it. And it's a collaborative approach, which is how it should have been and how it necessarily wasn't years ago.
Yeah, see, and he's talking about the elite pass rushers. I think it was interesting. He talked about Isaiah Simmons being the nickel, and then moving inside as kind of like the dime guy on third down. So they really do have it in their mind that he's going to be on the field.
Mm-hmm. Ryder Anderson, a guy that I know I've been talking about, saying someone to keep an eye on. So I knew about that, towards the end of last year. I suspected he might be somebody to keep an eye on, that, moving forward, not knowing, of course, Wink was going to resign, but I knew he was somebody that they liked. Yep. Music to our ears, pass rush. I've only been screaming about that for what, 3 years?
Well, like I said, if there's one place that I think Coach Wink didn't do himself a favor, is too many times we looked out there and saw Kayvon Thibodeau dropping in the coverage.
Yep.
Instead
Which
of
was
rushing.
silly.
So guys are down at the Shrine Bowl.
Yep.
For people who are around there, they're down at the Shrine Bowl, looking at the Shrine Bowl on players.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get a holistic view of the draft, all the prospects that are very close to be drafted. You can tell he's just young. Country.
By the way, if you guys have questions, those of you who are watching with us, shoot your questions in the chat box, and Coach Gene and I are happy to answer them.
Absolutely. Appreciate Caesar putting the question out there. If anybody else has a question,
Yep.
definitely answer anything we can. It's always crazy. It's always crazy to be up. Like I've been at Shrine Bowls, I've been at the Senior Bowls. When you're close, like right where how massive they are and fast, and it's just. And I played the game. It's still in all of it.
Yep.
He's been passionate about evaluating talents on there.
Frank Gore talking about the running backs. Yep.
Yep.
Underrated storyline, because Frank Gore is to Joe Shane what Chris Snee also is. Chris Snee is now considered like the offensive line expert. So Frank Gore, Shane thought very highly of him and his opinions. So when he talks running backs, they listen.
Hey, are you listening to, I'm a little bit ahead, but listen to Gettleman and how not Gettleman, excuse me, and Shane, and how he's talking about the wear and tear on Saquon Barkley's body.
Yep.
Like making it a point in every segment, they've made it a point to talk about Barkley being older, Barkley having carries on the body, blah, 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 blah.
Yep. All right, so now we're up to the Super Bowl.
Senior Bowl.
Oh no, I thought this is. Oh no, Senior Bowl. That's right. My bad. Mm. Mm-hmm.
He's got the shades on because he's trying to fleece.
Actually, this is interesting. This scene coming up. This was a clip that they previewed. James, thanks for that info. You're right.
James, if that continues, he is going to get run out of New York extremely fast.
Yep.
I will tell you that much. If the idea is to have those dudes dropping after what we've seen the last few years, it's not going to be a good tenure for him. So I'm with you. I hope you're wrong. Like I hope that he does something different.
Yeah. And again, how much of that was Vrabel versus, Bowen? That you got to take that into consideration.
I think there's a lot of athletic ability in the defensive backfield, Caesar. Lots of athletic ability. I am intrigued by Flott. He never made sense as a slot to me because slot cornerbacks have to have a level of physicality to them that I don't think Flott possesses. Like, he's not scary. He's just not physical, right? And so I think if you can guard people in the slot, especially now in today's NFL with so many talented slot guys, you should be able to guard people outside. So I'm really interested to see how that unfolds, and then what the battle behind what looks like it's going to be Isaiah Simmons is going to be at nickel.
I mean, Hartman, my grandma loves him. Like, she still listens to him.
They just showed the clip where the birth of the Brian Burns trade.
Yeah.
So they started off. You want to give us 2 1s for Burns? No, I don't think so. How about a 1 in something? You're getting closer, Shane said. So
Yep.
Okay, now we're up to the Super Bowl. And by the way, Shane just revealed, cute moment here, that his grandmother had a crush on Sam Hartman, the quarterback at Notre Dame.
I can't call it yet. I'll probably lean in.
Leaving towards the Niners. So I thought the Chargers were looking for him.
No, that wasn't the one. This was like the back and forth game. It was the Janet Jackson halftime.
Hey, you're definitely right, James. It is hard for defensive coordinators to change their stripes. They tend to be who they are, but you just gotta hope that the success that they started to not have in Tennessee, that he's going to go, okay, we've got these assets, let's let them do what they're supposed to do.
It's a depressing time.
Yeah, for sure.
I just want to get it over with. Get on to the next season, or continue to build this thing to hopefully get it there.
Pretty sure Brandon Brown said that he might be leaving for the 49ers. Did I hear that correct?
Brown?
Yeah, when he was at the scene where he was talking to some of the scouts. He said, I thought it was, I know the Chargers had interest in him. I don't remember the 49ers necessarily, unless I missed something. But all right, so now this is a key one.
Right, and it doesn't get to that. Hey, you're the right thing. Like, let's trade free agency. What do we really need out of your market? Come back and let us know if we can. I don't want to offer it because I don't want to be disrespected him. Just 30
Little slander on Saquon.
I'm taking from this, Joe Shane never had no intentions on re-signing Saquon Barkley.
Well, what's interesting here, let me see if it's what I think it is. Yeah, see, John Mara, a lot of people say John Mara interferes. He just said, in a perfect world, I'd like Saquon back. And Shane was like, no, we've got money, we've got $40 million quarterback, and we don't want him handing off to a $12 million running back, especially given, the other talent they have. So his plan all along, which he executed, was to upgrade the offensive line.
That's 6 guys right there that are going to free agents. How many players you really need running backs for your best three?
So that theory about John Mara telling Joe Shane what to do, you can forget about it, guys.
Yep.
And yes, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Xavier, yeah, they would know about Saquon because they gave him a year-end physical. They have his medical records, so yeah, they absolutely knew what kind of wear and tear they had on him.
I think it's Xavi. If I'm not mistaken.
Sorry about that.
I might be wrong though, trust me. But yeah, they definitely know. And again, they've made it a point to say in this episode a lot about him being older, him costing more money, him having more wear on him.
Yep. This is interesting. And their new slogan, Trail.
Javier.
Yeah. Xavier. Okay. Okay. We're back on Barkley.
Going back to the team, what would you say we could sign him back that dollar amount? There's a lot of running backs on free agents.
$12 million a year and some draft picks. Right. And then if we did, it's going to be realistic.
Yeah. So now they're discussing Saquon and if it makes sense to tag and trade him. Now, back in February, I think it was February, I mentioned that on Locked On. I said that there was a possibility that was being considered. That just now confirms what I said, because I kind of knew that was being considered. I didn't know if they were going to go through with it, but I knew that that was a consideration.
Did that last year. 10 years off my life.
I'm gonna tell you, this to me does not sound like a room of people who were like, we want Saquon Barkley back. Everything about it is negative. Nothing about it is positive.
Yep.
Emotionally, it was draining. Spent a lot of time on it. But again, I don't want that to be the reason that we don't do what's best for the franchise.
Episode's going quick, isn't it? All right, so Tim McDonald is now like, okay, what's our identity going to be on offense? Passing game?
You got to upgrade the offensive line, and you're paying the guy $40 million.
See?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, and this is great because Giants fans can get off Saquon Barkley's back.
We're sitting at 6.
Right? Like,
it's the year for Daniel.
it doesn't matter. And now they're going into like what's coming next. Like this, that was the end. It was just them talking about Joe Shane's saying what I essentially thought the entire time, which was they were moving on from Saquon Barkley. They want to be a pass-first offense. He said we have a $40 million quarterback. We're going to protect him. We're going to add an offensive weapon in the draft. We're going to address offensive line and free agency. All of the things that he did, that's what he said right there. So, like, New York Giants fans out there that are still like, oh, well, they offered Saquon Barkley a contract. No, they did not.
Yeah.
There was no contract.
There was some, yeah, but it's semantics though. And by the way, I don't know about you, but my episode just ended because you know I went commercial free. So the episode was actually about 40 minutes total. So mine ended, but just after 10 o'clock on Giants Country, I've got a whole summary ready to rock and roll. And then I'm going to tape a podcast with some additional Locked On Giants podcast with some additional information. But the Saquon, I really believe it was a matter of semantics. So the Giants knew what Saquon was looking to get. All right. And I'm sure the agent probably shopped around and had an idea that he might be able to get him upwards of 10 million. So at that point, if Joe Shane said, okay, I'm not going to pay you more than 10 million, no offer is going to be made because why bother? And I think Shane even said it in this episode. He's like, I'm not going to offer him 7 million so he feels disrespected.
Yeah, but
well,
that means he wasn't trying to offer him more than 7 million.
Yeah, it's not a matter of, you know, did Saquon lie or did the Giants lie? I think the semantics are important here. So
yeah, no, but no, and I agree with you to an extent. But my point is that people have made it seem as if the Giants put an offer on the table that looked similar to what Philadelphia gave Saquon Barkley.
No.
This is This episode says without a shadow of a doubt that they have never put anything on the table that looked like what Philadelphia put on the table. They were never even planning to put that much on there. I don't think Joe Shane had it in his head to bring Saquon Barkley back. And this quote is the quote that people should be clipping up. They'll probably miss it. We're not going to let a $40 million quarterback hand it off to a $12 million running back.
That tells you everything you need to know.
It tells you everything you need to know.
And also,
it is the season of Saquon.
Yeah,
of Daniel Jones. That's what he said. It is the season of Daniel Jones.
Yeah,
and it makes sense. It makes sense because if Daniel Jones can't get it done with an improved offensive line, with more weapons, and with another year in this offense, then it says a lot. But it also tells me that their decision to pay Daniel Jones that contract was a mistake. Mm-hmm. Because every decision they're making is based off the fact that they have a $40 million quarterback. That's what Joe Shane keeps saying. Everything that they do offensively is based off of a $40 million quarterback.
Yeah.
That means that you're not keeping Saquon because you have a $40 million quarterback. You're going wide receiver in the draft because you have a $40 million quarterback.
Now I see, Simeon says, thank you, Mara. Let me just shed some light on the Daniel Jones contract because I think a lot of people don't, and I'm not, please don't think I'm trying to be an apologist here, but what happened was because the Giants had the season that they had in 2022 with the playoffs, they were drafted so low, and they still had roster needs that they had to fill. So even if they wanted to trade up to get a quarterback, they couldn't do it. So they figured, okay, do we run it back with Daniel Jones year 2 of the system? He was fairly successful in year 1. Let's run it back with him. Or do we try, go free agency? And if I remember correctly, the free agency class wasn't that great. So they really had no choice or very little choice. Now, some of you will say, well, they should have, they should have let him test the market, but they didn't want to run that risk because there were other teams looking for quarterbacks too. So that's why Daniel Jones got the contract he got with the escape hatch. I'm telling you now, you don't see that escape hatch in Mahomes' contract or Burrow's or who are some of the Josh Allen's. So that's, and
hey,
Simeon,
I'm with Simeon here, PT. Like the issue isn't the fact that they kept Daniel Jones.
You guys are looking at the APY. You can't look at the APY. You've got to look.
You have to look at the APY because the APY is how people judge.
Get out of it.
Joe Shane is looking at the APY, PT.
I know.
If Joe Shane is doing it
because that's the easy way to. That's the easy way to do it. 4 years.
I'm just saying. If the GM is doing it, then why can't we do it?
I mean, you could, but that's not the correct way to look at it. Is what I'm saying. It's just easy.
Just because they paid him a bunch of guaranteed money,
right?
Doesn't mean that his value isn't $40 million.
Look at the guaranteed money. Basically, he got.
They paid him a boatload of money he did not earn.
15%.
They paid him a boatload of money he didn't earn.
Okay,
that's all I'm saying.
Didn't earn it, that's fine, but it's to me that contract was never a 4-year deal because they're gonna. If he flops this year and history says that it's not looking good, they're going to get out of the contract. They're going to have, they're going to have dead money, but you know what? The cap's going to go up. Look at how much the cap jumped this year.
I'm just saying, it says a lot to me. I think something happened with my audio. Can you hear
Yeah,
me?
there you are. You came back.
I
thought
said
it was
I
me
think
that
it's
came back.
interesting. Like I know what you're saying, and I get you, but it's telling, and I think it'll be telling to everybody out there, right? That we have the general manager harping on the fact that they have to do something to maximize the value of their $40 million quarterback. He said it 4 times in this episode.
Right. Which means
So
they
like
have doubts
that's
on
him
him.
saying, listen, that's where the money was spent at. That's where the most value is at. We've got to make sure we maximize that value. And because he's thinking in that manner, means he can't think in terms of keeping Saquon Barkley, because in his mind, the $40 million quarterback trumps the $12 million running back, even though with guaranteed money, he wouldn't be a $12 million running back. It's the same argument you could make for Saquon, right? So if they had franchise tagged Daniel Jones and he had this miserable year, now we're free and clear right now. So it's interesting that he is thinking that way.
Yeah, but Gene, if they had franchised Daniel Jones, chances are they don't get Bobby Okereke. So it was, what was the higher priority for them? And the answer is, whether you agree with it or not, you franchised the running back, which was a less, 1/3 of the costs to franchise the quarterback. That's why they did that.
And then they gave the quarterback $90 million guaranteed dollars.
I know they had to include it. They had to.
I'm just saying, like think about that. They gave him almost. They gave him a 6-figure
choir here. You're preaching to the choir here. I'm not sold on Daniel Jones. I was surprised they didn't take a quarterback in the draft. You were preaching to the choir, but
I'm saying this as a guy who's higher on Daniel Jones than most. Like I don't think he's the answer long term.
I don't think he is either.
Be a good quarterback. I think he can be a good quarterback. I just look at the whole, when people say, oh, well, Joe Shane this and Joe Shane that, and people like to continue to give Joe Shane his flowers. This is a misstep, and we have to call it a misstep. This was not a good decision by Joe Shane. This was a safe decision, and the safe decision shouldn't blow up in your face. And now we're seeing him say stuff like $40 million quarterback 4 times in one episode. Like we're in episode 1 and he said $40 million quarterback 4 times. I think that says a lot. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been fun. Make sure that you follow us. Hit the subscribe button. Tell your people to hit the subscribe button. Make sure that coming up here right before we start training camp, a giant issue with your boy, Coach Gene Clemons. I'll be there Monday through Friday. Hit me up right here on the New York Giants on SI YouTube channel and everywhere, and I mean everywhere that you get your DSPs from. So you don't have to worry about just watching us on the YouTube. You can make sure that you listen to us as well. I really look forward to it. If you haven't seen it yet, take a good 40-something seconds and check this out. Big Blue fans, New York Giants on SI has long been your source for news and information on the best team in the Big Apple. Since 2000, I have been bringing you Between the Lines, giving you the X's and O's that make or break a season, and the performance evaluations that bring hope for the future or present an uncertainty. Now I bring that unique perspective to the microphone Monday through Friday with some of the most prominent voices in Big Blue Nation as we discuss the topics of the day. So come join us. I'm Coach Gene Clemons, and I have a giant issue.
3, 2, 1,
Once again, make sure you get over to
Giants on SI.
Locked On Giants podcast
and Locked On Giants.
Check out PT and her reviews. Make sure that you check out the rundown and the review of tonight's show on the SI on New York Giants on SI. we're still trying to get it all down from Giants country. New York
We're going
Giants
through a
on
rebrand,
SI. It'll always be in the heart. It'll always be in the heart right there. We really do appreciate it. We can probably holler at you guys next time. For PT, you got anything before we get out of here?
No, just keep checking us out. We're doing the training camp previews. We're looking at every guy on the roster. We're bringing you the updates, and we're counting down the training camp. Pretty soon, we're going to be launching position reviews. We're going to be doing our most indispensable Giants series. So we got a lot coming up over on the site formerly known as Giants Country. It's now Giants on SI.
Giants on SI. Make sure you check out my good, great, and uglies over there as well.
Yes.
We're running through the system. I believe Andrew Thomas just dropped yesterday.
Yep.
Evan Neal is up there. Daniel Jones is up there. We'll hear from a lot of the players. I really had a chance to get in and look at the film and break down. I tried to do a little bit different this year. I wanted to focus in on one game and really take a look at what they did well in that game and why those traits transition to other games. I think it's a great series that I've been doing for a very long time, and I've been doing over here at Giants Country for the last 4 years. Enjoy it. Make sure you check that out, and make sure that you subscribe if you have not subscribed.
Please.
Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, peace.
Bye.